we have to realize that losing out on education is losing out on generations present and generations to come, especially amongst girls, because they are the womb, as I mentioned, that carries life. Without education, we all know that societies suffer. It costs more to keep our economies going, and it costs more for children to remain out of school. Children in Africa are especially affected because they are the breadbasket of the Africa that we want, the prosperous Africa we talk about, the Agenda 2063 that we all envy. And so it is very important that we find ways of showing up to ensure that we keep the children in school. Lack of education promotes instabilities, civil wars, diseases, early teenage pregnancies. It promotes early childhood marriages, and those are the things that we have to advocate for. To the young people in the room today, please know that the education you attain is yours. No one can take that education away from you. So basically, no one can come and open up your brain and open up your head and take away what you've attained in school. It's yours for life. I went to university in the United States in California, and after I finished my studies, I found myself without a job. And so I had two options. One option was to return to my home country, or another option was to stick it out in the United States and find a way to survive. And so I found myself living on the streets of New York City, believe it or not. And so for 6 months, I was homeless in New York City. The subway was my house. I lived in the subway from New York City all the way down to the end of the subway for 6 months. I ate at Madison Square Garden whenever there were events, and they would leave food for people that had come to the events, and that's where I was. And again, this is an encouragement to all you young people to say, do not give up on your education. But one thing that I never gave up on is during those 6 months, I always aspired to go to New York University, Columbia University. I would get on that subway, get off purposely at the stops where these universities are, and I would say, one day I'm going to have a degree. One day I'm going to have a master's degree. And I would walk to the United Nations with my bag that I've been pushing around New York City for 6 months, and I'd say, one day I'll enter these gates at the United Nations to speak, and so have I. So I want to encourage you today that nothing is impossible.